All right, this is video 3 of 4. If you didn't catch 1 and 2, it's okay. Watch this video, but make sure you get video 1. It's about the back door and about, when you're being coached or being a coach and what you work with when you're hitting your space of not being able to move forward and knowing that there's another angle you can go in. And then number 2 is about the cement wall versus the clam and finding shelter and really understanding growth. And so if you want to know about your growth and understand what that looks like when you're being coached, you want video 2. Video 3 is a fun one. This is a fun one because um, it's about anger. And I didn't realize that I had anger, and how it showed up for me was, I'm so angry. You're like, okay, are you gonna go throw something? Are you gonna, like, when's the rah come out? Deep inside, though, what I've been learning is that shutdown is anger because it's like I don't feel like I have a voice. And so 20 years being on thyroid medicine, 10 years being off medicine, pretty much almost 10 years now, we're getting there. And I'm realizing that, you have all these emotions, not one is better than the other. And if you cry a lot, that doesn't mean you're weak. And that's another thing to understand. So we're talking about emotions, but we're focusing in on the thing that Donna has been learning about her journey. And that is, but think about all the emotions you feel and that your emotion isn't pure. It's not just that. And it's not that you're weak. It's actually deserving conversation. And this is what I love about the coaching thing. Looking over here at my book. So the first time I heard that Donna was talking about anger, and I actually really remember it. It doesn't have to be the first time, but the time that really affected me is she said, "Yeah, I'm learning about my anger." That's how she's saying it. Not like, I learned about my man, that kind of stuff. No, didn't show up that way. But it did when she was comfortable in the space of, the right person, which, I bet John may have seen more angered spots. We could talk about this because we want to know, what does anger look like? So mine is about shutdown. And if I'm really angry, yeah, I've punched something here and there. That was only a couple times out of my whole life, that I felt that before. Donna, for you, welcome in to video 3.
Thank you.
What is it that you start recognizing that there's some real anger issues going on, and you felt it was consistent enough to bring it up into the coaching space that we had?
Well, the anger is, I mean, I've had my little bits of anger here and there. I mean, if John were here, he would tell you. But a lot, I mean, growing up, there was anger that I had to suppress because of how my life was at the time. But probably the biggest thing that caused a lot of anger was after my dear husband, John, passed away. Because when he passed away, did I feel sadness first? No, I felt anger. It was, I was just so angry at it, like, why him? Why now? Why, there was all that anger, and why the system didn't, other people got to live. Why didn't my husband get to live?
Yeah.
And it brought up a lot of anger and frustration. The sadness didn't come in until after a while. And, but that anger wasn't just at what was going on. I was never angry at John. I mean, John, he did the best he could trying to get well, and he just didn't quite make it. And, I'll always love him dearly. But because of the timing of when John passed away, and that one, there was a lot of fear, which just the fear and the anger and the sadness all kind of came together.
Yeah.
And that challenged my body a lot.
Yeah. Well, in our coaching, Donna, what is it that you see that helped you in moving forward and being able to actually start saying this stuff, because it's not the way that you could recognize what was going on. You just knew it was inside you, and there was all these myriad of different emotions going on. Recently, you've been talking about it more and understanding it. Was it around the coaching that really helped you maybe feel safe, or doing something that helped you move forward, where you could start saying that this was something that you're like, oh yeah, I'm like really angered, but I'm less angered than I was, or I don't have as much anger. What was it that we did in coaching that helped with that?
It, because you heard me and saw me, and because after John passed away, I felt like a victim. And being heard and seen, because of the time that he passed away, was much more difficult. And though there was people that saw me and they heard me in that, and you know, I had family in that, but your coaching helped also help me see, like, where could I stretch a little bit more and a little bit more to not feel so isolated, not feel that I was just like a bag of emotions, and that Donna didn't really exist. It was just the emotions existing.
Oh, I think that's so important to be seen and heard, because like it's that feeling of when you have an emotion, then you think it's only about that, it's only happening to you because you can't get out of it. I think everybody has those experiences, and then when somebody gives you some key to unlock, or just like you can feel the truth coming from somebody that they really want to be there, to be able to see and hear you. Like, I really care about this. Seems like that's a point to give you space to feel comfortable enough to where you can say stuff that's really inside that you've been holding. You go, here, wait, I'm starting to process things. And I really appreciate, like, throughout the years, we've talked about anger in itself. And I don't know if you have any books that you enjoyed reading that kind of helped you process some of those emotions before. Is there anything? But I just appreciate that throughout the years you've talked about, I want to get a handle on this, but really fear is connected with anger. Like, if you really back up what anger is, it's just the fear and not being, it's like a little kid. We always talked on, like, it's the 4-year-old that's doing, or, it's a teenager. This is a teenager that's doing this. And so we get to start playing with this. What are you discovering through this journey of 9 years? Anything else in there? Because you grabbed it pretty quick about the anger, especially talking about John. Should we talk a little bit more about John? Just kind of get it in this video so that you can share as being a widowed, um, beautiful woman in this process and your journey around starting to release this. I wonder if that could be real powerful in this video 3, if we kind of sit with that a bit.
Okay, yeah. Well, first, what made me more comfortable talking with you is because you knew John. You coached John. The 3 of us used to exercise together, and that. And he was a special person in my life. I mean, I was married to him for 40 years, and you kind of get to know each other after 40 years. And I have friends that never knew John, and I love them dearly, and I appreciate them. But there's the people that knew John, so that when I talk about John, they can go, "Yep," that he
makes
loved
me laugh, yeah.
Yeah, that the bear hugs, his wacky sense of humor, all those things, and
Yeah.
and I appreciated him so much, but there was a lot of sadness. I mean, because the one thing that made me really sad was because he became a teacher, and I was so proud of him for teaching in that. And I got really sad when he couldn't teach anymore because, well, one, he got sick and then he passed away. So being able to have the time to figure that out and be able to talk about John and how at times it was excruciating. I mean, not only the anger, the fear, the sadness, all of it, just it's overwhelming. I mean, your whole body just kind of goes like, it's hard to breathe. And just to have somebody there that goes like, I'm seeing you, I'm hearing you, and I understand, especially considering you knew John.
Yeah, you remember his hugs?
Yep.
Oh, they're so
Yep.
cute.
They're hugs.
Yeah. So yeah, this is video 3 of 4 around anger. There's so much we can unpack here, and so think about your growth around your emotional understanding of where you are today and also where you want to go. Because if you start really finding that somebody can see and hear you, they'll be able to help you process things so much. I know every time I feel in a safe space, I'll just jab away and I'll go, why did I say that? Why did I say this? But most of the time I'm like, oh, yeah, I'm cool. But if somebody is there to be able to see and hear you, this is how you get to do it really fast, and it feels safe. You don't feel embarrassed, because if in the wrong group, it can be very uncomfortable because you're supposed to quote unquote have a mask on. And with this thing around anger, people have a tendency to shame somebody when they are having an angered moment. And if you go through your journey, you'll understand if somebody else is in anger. You won't shame yourself. If you're in anger, you'll start going, here, wait, I don't need to be in shame that I just said, blomp, blomp, blomp. But I need to understand so I can go back to that person or back to myself of me beating myself up, or go back to that person. And what was I learning from that moment? What was I holding on to? Because an old school way, before I started doing this stuff, the thing to me was, oh, already said that. Nope, you can't retract that. They will never forgive you. And it's like, oh, I thought that was real, because in my experience, I thought you're supposed to be fighting. You're supposed to fight for what you believe in, and how dare them, and I'll never talk to them again. And that's meaning that maybe that person shouldn't be in your space, and that's good to know. But if you hold that anger in, that's where the energy gets stuck. Your energy cycles, they get stuck, and they could stop spinning, like moving energy in your body. And that's where chronic pain, chronic disease will happen if you're not careful. And this is where you can get into the epigenetics and the natural way of learning, so that you can start opening your body. And I'm going to talk about bowel movements too, with the body being held and not really letting go of things. All of that can do such repercussions in your body. So look at your body and what you want to update. If you understand chakras, go in there, do like the 7-minute chakra experience. I love doing that. Just Google it in YouTube. There's so much to talk about here. Let's get to video forward, and our next video is about mindset. Mwah. Here we go, Donna. We're on the next one. Did we get it?
Okay. We got it.